checking our core member outcomes, checking reality for core member outcomes and the way staff are contributing to those outcomes. And I've solicited a couple of volunteers to help us get us started. So Michelle?
Yep. So after we internalize the vision for what we want core members to do coming out of the session, and also thinking about, okay, then what did our staff do to contribute to that? Just a quick question, what are some typical ways that you as a school director can check the reality of what core members are doing against the vision of the session? So thinking about what do you need to look for when you're reviewing the FS, looking at rubric actions, or talking with your staff members of what they'll be able to do. What are some things you can physically do as a school director to get at that? For example, anybody have an example? One, you will actually sit in on the session. What else do you need to physically do as a school director? To know the yep.
Talk to core members during the session.
Awesome. Talk to CMAs about what they're seeing in their observations.
Yep.
Look for examples in classrooms after the session.
Yep.
Look at their outputs.
Yep. Yep. Anybody else want to? I can check them off the list. No, y'all have them all. There you are.
Okay, thanks so much. So we do need to check CM understanding, and part of the way we're going to do that is by all of the things that Michelle just brought us to see. Key point number 6, I believe that. Kristen?
All right, you do need to check CM understanding. You can do it in the session by sitting in, talking to CMs, looking at work, and after the session by following up with staff members and CMs. It's not unlike the text for understanding you do in your classroom. However, we're going to get to looking at core member checks for understanding in a second and what they do, but let's think a little bit about and step back. How are you as a school director or a leader going to determine whether or not your staff members are prepared to implement that session? So what are your staff members doing that are contributing to an effective presentation, or what are they not doing that's contributing to the presentation? So what can you do as a school leader or as a leader to determine that where your staff members' preparedness level is?
Check.
Yes.
Check to see what they're doing to prepare.
Check to see what they're doing to prepare.
Listen to them articulate the vision of the session and like the high level flow of the actions and agenda.
Look at action plans. That kind of goes with check to see what they're doing to prepare.
Check on action plans.
One thing we talked about was having them check in with other staff members, so having your CM share outcomes with the rest of your team.
Absolutely, at school team meetings.
And just want to add that actually, because we always talk about CSs doing it for CMAs, that actually works the other way around too, especially in week 1, of having CMAs actually share with CSs as well what's going on in CMA sessions.
And be proactive about stating what the expectations are in specific sessions. So like how should CMAs be participating in CS sessions? So like they know how to prepare for the sessions. Should they be, bringing in key points in certain places, presenting?
And don't hesitate to, once you've asked a staff member how they're preparing, don't hesitate to go and observe them. If you know that they're going to be rehearsing with another CS, don't hesitate to drop by and do so. If you know that one of your CMAs is going to be sharing an anecdote, ask the CMA which anecdote they've elected to share in the presentation so you can have a real strong pulse on whether or not that anecdote is going to contribute in a positive or take away from the session's effectiveness.
I would also say asking, hey, when I'm going to go observe your session, what exactly should I be looking for? Are there hot spots you want? Right, so, and judging by the specificity of their response, they've really identified what the tensions are, et cetera. And that's a good way of doing it where you're really being helpful too in terms of going in and observing.
And our last key point, Karen. Abigail? Sure.
So it's your job to figure out the connections between what core members are learning and how your staff are contributing. That takes work like finding out how your staff members are preparing to present, sitting in on sessions, talking to them, and thinking logically about what's happening and why. And 2 summers ago when I was a CMAC, I had to do this a lot for our core member advisors. So really thinking ahead of time and internalizing the sessions myself, just like you all went through, and walking into a classroom and thinking like, what exactly do I want to not only see CMAs doing to know that they're helping core members meet outcomes, but what do I want to hear core members saying and doing that lets me know they're going to take what they're learning today and implement it in their classroom tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you very much, volunteers. So we have this idea of like, we need to check what core members, whether core members are learning. we need to check to see how staff are contributing to that. And then, most importantly, if there's a gap, we need to figure out why the gap exists and what we can do to fix it. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to practice doing that with Brent. Oops, sorry, go back here. With Brent, so for this you're going to need handout 7, 8, and 9, I believe. So handout 7 should be evidence of Brent's preparation. Handout 8 is a note-taking template, and handout 9 is going to be evidence that you'll look at after we observe the session. 7, 8, and 9.